Good morning, guys. How you doing? Sorry for coming in about 5 minutes late today. Had so much to deal with in terms of noise, but hey, like we always say in our sessions here, that noise or no noise, we show up and we do what we need to do. And so today we are here as usual to run with this particular presentation this morning, and I am dealing with a very exciting topic I've been running with, which is called Steps to Creating a Quantum Leap in Life. And we continue with the quantum realm of the impossible, specifically dealing with the second part of this particular training. Now, before I continue with that, I need to mention once again that we come here every day, Monday to Friday. And when we come Monday to Friday, we are here to do what we do, which is to present the 8 a.m. Mentorship Academy. So Mondays is myself, Tuesdays is Dr. Sunshine with her Mindset Change program. Wednesday is our young lady Sampa. She does the Mompreneur. Thursday, we have Dr. Nelly with Prosperity for Your Soul. Friday, we have New Image. And that's getting exciting because there are some big announcements we have that will be coming during the week with New Image that you kind of want to keep track of. Now, today I want to jump straight into my lesson, and my lesson specifically relates to a very exciting topic that I love, and that topic is Steps to Creating a Quantum Leap in Life. And this particular one, we're continuing with our series on quantum leaping. I said before that according to Dr. Price Pritchett, you can achieve massive leaps of progress in life, and it's not necessary that it should be centered around what we call incremental increase, but you can take exponential growths. And we've been looking at a number of things to making that happen. So today I'm continuing on that series, and I'm on the second part of this particular component of what you need to do. So I'll be looking at about 6 different items today around this quantum leap. Now, what is a quantum leap? In a nutshell, it is a sudden and generous switch from a particular point. Like in the beginning, you may be somewhere and you're making a bit of progress, and then all of a sudden you make this massive leap, massive leap. And that leap is what differentiates or changes everything about your life. And one thing I find very encouraging, and which I always tell you guys, is that it doesn't matter. Sometimes life will look like nothing is happening, but there is a terminology we use in network marketing called digging down to bedrock. The idea is to get down to the foundations. And once you get to those foundations and you lay what needs to be laid down there, people get shocked when the building shows up. They go, oh my God, where did that come from? Oh yes, they did not see the 5, 10, 15 years of digging down to bedrock in order to establish what needs to be established at foundational level. And once you've done that, then it takes off into the stratosphere. And so just keep doing what you need to do, keep showing up every day, keep giving what you need to give, and keep being consistent. In fact, one of the greatest ingredients to quantum leaps is consistency as well. So in other words, show up every day and get to work. I remember many, many years ago, Rev Walter did a presentation I've now forgotten. He said the difference between amateurs and professionals is amateurs work when they're in the mood, when they're inspired, when they're motivated, when they wake up on the right side of the bed. Then they do something. That's what amateurs do. So they tend to have very spotty show-ups, and it always tends to be according to what they feel at the time. Professionals, they just show up and get to work. That's the difference with professionals. Whether it's a good day, bad day, happy, sad, rainy, sunshine, doesn't matter. They show up and get to work. And I tell you something, we've been running this thing for 5 years, and that's what we've been doing every single time. Show up and get to work. And I tell you, I don't even doubt that one day we will see an explosive growth in this. And why? But truth is, we've actually already benefited so much because of these sessions. But I'll tell you, one day I know we will have an explosive growth. Why? Because we've dug down to bedrock. We've done everything we need to do. And the day of, not reckoning, but the day of harvest is coming. So let's look at a few more items in relation to the title, Steps to Creating a Quantum Leap in Life 2, the Quantum Realm series. And specifically, let me pick it up from Suspend Disbelief. So that's the 4th item. So in other words, for those who missed, I'm not going to go into details, but I'll tell you the first 2 we did. We did quit trying harder last week, and we did ignore conventional approaches. So today I'm now dealing with, and then of course, think beyond what common sense would allow. So today, focus on ends rather than means. I did quite a bit. Rely on unseen forces. Wait a minute. Am I actually going right? Let me see. To suspend disbelief. There we go. So I was going beyond. So the fourth one today is suspend disbelief. So here is what it is. Act as if success is certain and then move. I'll say that again. Act as if your success is for certain and then proceed boldly. You know, disbelief. What is suspending disbelief? When you start anything and you look around you, sometimes the circumstances and the environment can be very, very disheartening, can be very discouraging, and it can be quite challenging. But when we talk about suspending disbelief, what we're saying is forget about what the facts are saying to you. Go with what you believe inside of you. Because truth be told, if you're going to wait for the perfect time, you'll never do anything, ever. So there is no such thing as a perfect start. That's a myth. What you just need to do is just get what you need to get ready. And once you've prepared what you need to prepare, just start and then learn as you go. So in the words of Effort Chabala, just start and then see how it works. You will learn, you will course correct, because perfectionism is a myth. There is no such thing. In fact, being a perfectionist is the worst thing you can be, because it will completely block you from progressing. So what you don't want to do is get into that whole thing of hoping that things will balance out, things will be better. Just forget about that. Just go out there and start. So in short, act as if success is for certain and then proceed boldly. Now, how is this done practically? There is what we call a thorough carrying out of due diligence. So one of the secrets to ensuring that you minimize on failure is due diligence. And due diligence includes, proper planning prevents poor performance, and making sure that you do everything that's necessary in order to minimize the chances of failure. So you do your research, you do your analysis, you do your cost-benefit analysis, and all these other systems that you need to do. And by the way, when you do them, don't do them in such a way that you're waiting for the perfect conditions. I mean, unless you don't have certain key inputs, like maybe capital, you may need a certain amount to start, or you may need a certain connection to get you off the ground or whatever. But I've always found, again, that if you're going to rely too much on the external issues to be right for you to now go out there and do what you need to do, you may find that you will fail. So I have found that once you have all the key ingredients, just take off. And what are the key ingredients? Do a bit of an analysis by yourself and say, what are the basic minimums I need to start? So even the capital thing, don't try and look for big capital, because you'll never start. But what's the bare minimum you need to start? What do you have right now? Is it enough to start? For me, that's the key. And once you've got that, then obviously do your checks and balances, check with people, confirm with those around you who are experts, do whatever you need to do, but make sure you've done it all correctly. And once that's done, just start. And remember, when you are leading people, exude confidence. So that's why we suspend disbelief. Don't operate as if you doubt, as if you're not sure, as if maybe it won't work. I mean, don't give that kind of vibe. Because if you're leading this thing and you're running with this thing, the last thing you want to do is be giving a vibe that it's not going to work. So go with absolute confidence. In fact, I always, we always say, like, for example, in politics, you got to believe in, you got to be, if you're going to be running for president, you got to believe you're going to be president, even if the facts on the ground don't look too good. But you cannot be showing your followers that you're not sure about where you're going. You're not sure if this, you're not sure that. For me, I think that's a minus. What you want to do is just exude the confidence and go. Taking us to the next item, focus on ends rather than means. Now, this one is a bit tricky, because some people say the ends justify the means. I don't subscribe to that, because there are certain things which, if it's wrong, it's wrong. This is where the issue of principles and transparency, integrity, this is where these things come in. But having said that, if you keep your eyes on the ends, then the means will work themselves out. I think it's Professor Hannington Mabayo, a great man, who said something that blessed me so much. He said, if you can describe the what and why, the how will take care of itself. Can you imagine it? So if you can describe the what and the how, and the we and the why, sorry. So why are you doing it and what exactly are you doing? So if you can describe these two and really lay them out properly, the how will actually take care of itself. So your biggest issue is why are you doing it and what exactly are you doing? And that's what focusing on the end means, because when you're focusing on the end, you're seeing the end, and that you're doing that from the beginning. So that's what your vision is. That's what we call vision. So you set your vision. But in order to understand and set your vision clearly, I work backwards. I start with mission. You got to be clear about the mission. Why are you doing what you're doing? So let's look. What are the practical means to make that happen? Keep your eyes on the ball. Focus on the end once again. Ask the right questions. The answers are already there. They just need to be sought. So again, you see. So what is your mission? Your mission comprises three key components. Your mission is your purpose, the reason you exist, the service, what you exist for, and the work, how you will execute. How you will execute the service. So the way you serve is your work. And please, work and jobs are different. So, but I'm not going to go into that because that's not my presentation today. So remember, your mission is very cardinal, because once you understand your purpose clearly, it's very easy to project what your end game is. Because once you have understood your purpose and it's clearly defined, then it's obvious that you'll be able to work out your vision. And it is your vision that helps you create the end. So in other words, what's the end game? It is the manifestation of your vision. Your vision is not some mystical thing out there. No, your vision is within you. All you need to do is just peel back all the onion layers and get to the heart. And once you get to the heart, you'll understand what it is. And like I told you, it is tied to your purpose. And again, I haven't got the time to go into exactly what purpose is and all that, because I've got so many other things to cover. That's not the purpose of this presentation today. Then this next one I really like. Rely on unseen forces. This I love. So when you focus on the clear picture of what you want to accomplish and move confidently towards it, unexpected and unknown resources materialize. Now, I've always told people that you and I did not create ourselves. Every gift we carry, every talent, every ability that we have, okay, every gift and talent, because ability is just things we learn as we go, those are skills. But every gift and every talent we carry within ourselves has been put and deposited within us long before we were born. The Bible tells us that before the laying of the foundations of this earth, God already knew who we are, and he had already ordained us for a particular service. The book of Jeremiah talks about that. So, which means you and I did not come by accident. Everything around you was by design of purpose. So everything you see around you, whatever it is in your room right now, when you look in there, in that office you're in that place you're in, I don't know, whatever, wherever you're watching this from now as a recording, I will tell you this, whatever you see around you was purposefully designed. And one of my favorite statements about design is that, about purpose, is that the design of an object gives away its purpose, or the purpose of an object is seen in its design. So, which means when you look at these factors within your life, these things that make you who you are, they carry within them your purpose. And now, when you realize that, the bigger realization is that somebody put those in you, which is the creator. So if the creator put those things in you, here's the big giveaway. He also put all the resources necessary to manifest whatever your purpose is on your path of life. So that path of your life, you find every resource. And the first set of resources we normally start with our guardians, parents. Sometimes life is, it serves you some very bad cards. But the point is that there will always be something. And as you begin that journey, God will bring the people, God will bring the passion, God will bring the actual resources. And resources are, of course, time, effort, value, people, tools, processes, systems. These are all resources. And what God does is, in his wisdom, in his infinite wisdom, he sets all these things up in advance in your path of life. And so as you're moving in that path, you get to see all these things literally manifest. And that's one of the most exciting things I know about this journey that we walk on. And so for me, it's a big deal. It's a very, very big deal. And what matters most for us, for you, for me, is to rely on those forces. So when you start running, here's something you ought to know. When you begin to do, remember the ukwi posa mofie, remember the jumping in and running? One of the things that excites me is that the moment you start, you trigger everything. So for as long as you're sitting there waiting to start, nothing moves. It's only when you start to move, then all of a sudden resources get triggered. You know why? Primarily because of something called showcasing. So what is showcasing? Showcasing is the concept of taking whatever it is you know you're good at or can do, and then beginning to demonstrate it in whatever area of life you are in. People have to see what you can do, because nobody knows what you carry or what you do for as long as you're sitting there quietly. As long as you're not showing or telling people what you do, no one will know what you do. No one is going to guess that, oh, this one is very powerful as a singer, or this one's a great writer, or this one's a great artist. No one will know those things until you go and show them. And that's what we talk about. We say so this is a practical application. Every vision has resources for its accomplishment. Hence, provision. So in other words, provision is God setting things in advance, or providence, which is provision in advance. And the word providence, I like to break that into two words: providence, the essence of provision. I just love that. So in other words, the providence of God kicks in when we begin to move, because God expects us by faith to make a move. And when we make that move, when we begin to walk in the course for which God set us in towards destiny, then all of a sudden the providence of God kicks in. Every resource starts to show up at the right time, at the right place, and it will feed into this process that you are making, this move that you're doing, because then everything will fall in place. That's amazing. And one of the most amazing things about this truth, some stuff is going to work against you. In fact, there will be a lot. There's what we call Murphy's Committee. Now, nature is working with you, which is amazing. No, I mean, rather, the Creator and his providence will work with you. But there is something called entropy, the tendency for things to move from a state of order to disorder or to degenerate. That force within nature will work against you. So you've got to show and demonstrate an ability to overcome it. That's why, for me, the concept of getting up and running is so powerful. And one of the most powerful ways to make this happen, I hear people all the time complaining, there are no opportunities for the youth. Hey, in this world, it's all rigged. I have news for you. I have news for you, my friend. It is not rigged. It is just nature testing to see if you are really ready. I always say that something that is valuable will be tested in order to be trusted. So your test produces a testimony. And that is why we go through these tough seasons. They are in order to bake us and turn us into the super cake that is needed. They test us to see if we can carry what is coming in the future. And so a lot of people fail and fall on the wayside because they don't understand this concept about relying on unseen forces. So whatever comes to oppose you comes to strengthen you. It doesn't come to kill you. Myself, I once said that what does not kill you will build you. I'll say that again. What does not kill you will build you. So many times, even the greatest setbacks you can imagine actually come with massive lessons, if only we can reframe our seeing. If only we can look for the silver lining in that dark cloud. And you may be amazed to learn that in that silver lining lies your breakthrough. What looks like an end may in fact be a beginning. Please remember these things. So rely on unseen forces. The sixth one, very, very powerful, this one. Choose a different set of rules. Choose a different set of rules. You can never avoid risk. So risk comes with life. Even walking out your door is a risk. So life itself is a risk, right? Okay? You can only choose which risks you will take. So risk believing in yourself and be an outlier. So what is an outlier? An outlier, if you've ever read the book The Outliers by I forgot his name, it talks about that. It talks about, he also wrote a book called The Tipping Point. The name is just literally slipped. That gentleman spoke about this concept of being an outlier, this concept of going against the grain, being contrarian, going outside expectation. And then remember, when I talked about consistency, he talked about the tipping point, which is the 10,000 hour rule. That when you do something for over 10,000 hours, you become a professional. And when you're a professional, you're just different. Dr. Sunshine, myself, and Dr. Nelly have become efficient. We are pros when it comes to this live thing. We have done 5 years straight, which means we have clocked and passed the 10,000 hour mark. And that makes us professionals. That makes us experts at what we do. Nobody can come and tell us anything. We know we know this. We know how to interact with the open platforms and leverage and take advantage of all these things. We have gained expertise in it because we have done it for 10,000 hours. And this is where the concept of being an outlier comes in. So an outlier is somebody who chooses to go against the grain, against convention, go with what is not common. That's why we talk about choosing a different set of rules. If you can, literally throw the rule book in the bin. But what I always tell people is not really throw the rule book in the bin. But what I'm saying is just be radically different. Just choose to do something different. So to make that happen, practical application, self-belief is everything. No one follows someone who does not know where they're going. And this is why, if you remember what I said earlier on, show up and get to work. Be a pro. And when you're a professional, even people watching you after some time will say, you know what, this guy really knows what he's doing. I'll give myself as an example. I walk a fairly, difficult path. Why? Because I speak my mind. I'm not the kind of person that will sugarcoat or be, scared of what people have to say or think. When I believe in something, I'll stand for it, even when it's not popular. Even when it's not popular. But further, even when it's not convenient to myself, I'll do it. And you know what? It comes with a price. Every time, let me tell you something, being nice doesn't help. This is why I say choose a different set of rules, because you follow the rule book. And I'm not, please, by the way, I'm not talking here about scriptures in the Bible. No, I'm just talking about the rule books of life. You follow these rule books, you try to be nice. It doesn't matter what you do. There'll always be somebody who hates you anyway. There'll always be somebody who'll be jealous of you. There'll always be somebody who doesn't like what you do. Then they just don't like you. It's not like you did anything. It's not like you offended them. They just don't like you. They don't like your guts. They don't like how you look. They don't like what you do. They feel you're too showy. They feel you're too whatever it is that they feel. And that's why you reach a point in life where if you're going to try and please people, my friend, you will never do anything significant. I assure you, you will never do anything significant. And that's where you've got to learn that, hey, I've studied everything that I need to study. I've learned everything I need to learn. I've learned from mentors, but I got to choose a different set of rules. I've got to choose what's going to be my rules and what's going to be my way, and I'm going to do it. And I will learn as I go. I'll course adjust. And that's why we have the five key rules of progress. Plan, do, review, revise, repeat. I speak this a lot. Plan, do, review, revise, repeat. So as you are progressing, you are doing, you are reviewing, revising, repeating, planning, doing, reviewing, revising, repeating, and on that goes, and you never give up. You never give up. You keep at it every single day. And sooner or later, this thing is going to align. But be willing to receive all the arrows, all the criticism, all the negative talk, because that's part of life, my friend. If you think that I'll be very nice, you will never do anything. So you got to reach a point where you know who you are and you know what you bring to the world, and you become assertive. Become assertive and just say, I know what I'm doing. I know what I can do, and go do it. And you know what? Your proof will be seen in what you do, not what you say, what you do. So that's why we always tell people, keep at it and never give up. But pick a different set of rules. So self-confidence or self-belief is everything. No one follows someone who does not know where they're going. So you got to have super confidence in yourself. Of course, sometimes that's almost borderline or cultic or self-centered or what's that word, narcissist. I don't know. But I can tell you that Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Sam Altman, and all these rich people, Bill Gates, didn't get where they got by being apologetic. These guys knew what they are, they knew what they stood for, and they didn't give a hoot about what somebody else thinks. And I think my last one for today is, yes, this will be the last one today. Trust in the power of pursuit. Yes. Dreams begin with crystallizing them into reality when they are pursued, because the world behaves differently when you go after what you want. So when you crystallize your dream, crystallization, I learned that word from Paul J. Meyer. To crystallize means to take this idea, this dream, and then make it as clear as possible on paper. And then once you made it clear, planned it, laid it out, create a strategy around everything, go and start executing. And when you execute, don't be apologetic about it. So, and remember to trust in the process of the pursuit. Now, it's the very process of pursuing your dream and destiny can be trusted, right? Practical application. Momentum, and I need to stress this as I wrap up. Momentum is a huge factor. Once you start something and keep at it, it gets relatively easier to keep going. In short, every time you stop, you lose or gain. So remember, you start, then you quit. Then you start again 3 months later, you quit 6 months later. Then you start, then you quit. Do you know every time you start, you have to use far more resources? Like the amount, in fact, there's a saying, it takes 5 times the effort in terms of energy to start something than to keep going with the same thing. So every time you start a new endeavor, there's so much involved to get that to kickstart, because you've lost that momentum. Remember, momentum is what? Mass times velocity. That's what momentum is. What is mass? Mass is the actual, weight of an object, and then velocity is the speed at which it's moving. So the distance, so to speak. So I think velocity is distance and speed or something. I forgot what it is, but essentially velocity and mass is what create momentum. And you remember, if you want to understand momentum, think of pushing a car that is not working. When you start pushing it, you use far more effort. But once it starts rolling, it is pushed along by its own weight. Its own mass will push it forward. It becomes easier to push that vehicle. It's only at the beginning, because you have to fight something called inertia. So in our business endeavors, we also fight something called inertia. Starting requires a lot of resources, but I assure you, Dr. Sanchan, myself, Dr. Nelly, we've been doing this for 5 years. We use these platforms. When we started, it was much harder. This time it's so easy. We don't struggle. We have the numbers. We've built and accumulated people. These things count towards towards momentum. When you have all those networks, all those lists, all those subscribers, it makes your work easier. So when I want to sell a product, for me, I don't struggle as much because I've built the momentum. Now, if you keep quitting, you start, you quit, you start, you quit, you lose the momentum that you're gaining. You lose the reputation that you're earning. You lose the value proposition that you're giving because you keep quitting. So that's why start and start well, hit the ground running, and just don't quit. I think it was, what's his name? Winston Churchill, at a lecture, I don't remember where, at some college, university out there in the UK, who gave one simple but powerful speech. He looked at everybody in the room and they were waiting for him to give some powerful speech, and he says, never, never, never give up. And that was the end of his speech. And it became a quotable quote. Everybody really runs with that quote today because it's true. Never give up. You know what? When something fails, you've just discovered another smart, intelligent way to start. So keep at it. And remember, back to my point, momentum is what keeps you moving from one stage to another. So if you do not maintain what you're doing, you will lose all the gains as far as momentum goes. So I really hope you guys were able to catch that, because for me, that's huge. And I hope you will be able to actually do something about running with these quantum leaps. So on this note, guys, I'm done for today. And tomorrow, Doc is here. You join me next week as I continue with other tips. So that'll be like part 3 of this particular explanation on how to achieve quantum leap. So I really hope you picked something profound there and that it will help you. Share this video as always. And we have a whole group of people that always watch these things as recordings. So you go catch up on that, and I hope you're able to learn something. So for myself, adios muchachos. See you tomorrow when Dr. Sunshine is on with her Mindset Change program. Goodbye. Have a good day.